Okay, so let me check on my channel whether we are live on public because I have started the live stream.
Sigur?
And
Sure.
and yes, we are live. So firstly, I would to all my audience, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome on our live stream. My name is Muhammad Anas Shah, and today we have a very special personality with us. And actually, they started studying agriculture in Germany and has also worked many years in applied technical fields, dealing with different kinds of electric and medical challenges. And firstly, this gentle person here came to India as a tourist in 1984, 1988, and 1993. But we can say that in Kashmir, for Kashmiri people, they have done a lot. As for the 2014 floods as well as the 2005 earthquakes, they have he has helped us a lot. He has developed various shelters which are known as Pai shelters for Kashmiri people, of which 2000 plus were built in the affected areas as well. And he also is the founder of a company known as Pai Engineering, which focuses on innovation, utilizing local labor and resources. So firstly, I want to thank you for coming on our live stream, as we are really humbled to have you. My first
Acha, you're
question.
welcome. Assalamu alaikum to everybody.
Yes.
Bolie.
Uh, so my first question with you will be, uh, why did you come to Kashmir, and why did you, agree to stay here?
Uh, as many things in life uh, uh, brings things in our life. I was actually born in Holland and raised in Germany because of job problems in Holland, because of the oil coming in the 60s to Europe, and then coal was out.
Yes, definitely.
My father worked in coal mines. And my father had been a refugee in Germany during the Second World War. He was already older when I was born.
Yes.
And that's why I grew up in Germany, studied agriculture there.
Okay.
In '84, I came the first time. That time, Madras train station,
Mm.
uh, and feeling homesick for India. We were going back to Mumbai and then take a flight back to Germany. And I thought, I want to come back here. And I had no idea how or what. So then in '88, I came with some friends to Nepal. We were doing trekking there around Annapurna. And I loved the mountains more than the plains, even though I was born in Holland, where it's all flat, there's no mountains there. Um, and then when I came in '93, I thought, I want to come back here somehow. And then
Yes.
eventually, by the grace of God, what else is there in life that guides us?
Mm.
Uh, uh,
Definitely. You liked it here.
found this NGO that was, yeah, I liked it here. That was working or looking for somebody to run the operations here called Partner 8 International. They don't exist anymore.
Mm.
Um, and then when I then came here and saw this and that, and had all kinds of ideas and visions on what to do, and but things just came together. Then the earthquake happened in 2005,
Five.
and
Yes,
everybody
definitely.
said we need shelters. And because of the tsunami that happened Christmas before, and then Katrina, the big hurricane in
Hurricane.
America,
Yes,
there
definitely.
were not many tents and so available. And one morning I was laying in bed and just thinking and praying, and I got this idea of making the shed. And so I went to a local friend who had some of the tools that I needed to make the shed, and we made one, and it took us about a day to get it together. Then we took it down and put it together here in our yard in the shed, where we have a rented place here.
Definitely.
And that took us about half a day to put it together. And then the DEFCOM at that time connected me with Brigadier dear Meta, who was in charge of the engineering part of the earthquake relief. And he called me then, and Brigadier Meta asked so many
Oh,
shelters to be built.
yes, definitely.
And though I saw in that whole endeavor me through the process to get all the paperwork, and here, was it 15 years later, 16 years later, we're running this business, doing all kinds of innovations. Then
Yes.
the question also came after the earthquake: how can we build or help the people build safer housing?
Yes.
And many people said we should use wood, and wood is a very good construction material. Though if those people all would have used wood, there would be no forest left in Kashmir. Then you get landslides and all these things.
Mm.
And if I just no, that's a bad solution. I mean, it's a good solution, but it's not really working because it's not really there.
Yes.
The supply of wood in that amount, and
Mm.
that's when we start to develop a system to make houses earthquake resistant,
Earthquake resistant,
similar
yes.
to Dajidibadi, but not using wood, but steel reinforced concrete modules that can be put together in one in Tanga, the Tanga area,
Yes.
put a little clinic, and then later put up a bridge together using the same elements. I made some presentation at the NIT in Roorkee. I'm a member of the Indian Society of Earthquake
Mm.
Technology there. And then in the Gandarbal district, we put up a few buildings, and also here in the backyard of the place where we have rented, we put up a simple structure that is a two-story building
Build.
to show to the people how the system works.
Yes.
And the main idea is really using only local labor, only local material,
Materials. Yes.
and local
And, and
technology also.
technology in
This
order to make these.
the buildings, ha,
Yes, definitely.
like the building we put up here in our backyard
Mm.
has the sim for cement.
Mm.
We put first the frame up. There was an existing building there,
Mm.
and we just retrofitted this existing building with this framework. But the rest is still brick and mud, the same bricks as there were before, the same mud as there was before is in this building. But now it's a whole lot more earthquake safe than it was,
Yes,
and was
definitely.
all done with local labor
Uh,
and material.
I think that
What
network
do you?
connection might not be. Can you check it for a second? Cause your voice is
Yeah, not from cutting somewhat.
cutting somewhat. Is my voice also
Yeah, this.
appearing that way?
Yeah, your voice is fine, but your picture is frozen once in a while.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So okay.
and,
Okay. No
but
worries.
I
We
can hear you fairly okay.
yes, this is the one downside of living in Kashmir. That here it is really network problem. It is very much big problem here in Kashmir. All that keeping aside, tell me that what made you into an innovator? What was the main motivation that you wanted to become an innovator?
Seeing problems around me, I always like to fix things. And I grew up with little money. My parents were not rich. My father was a nurse in hospital when he was in Germany. But having no money also caused me then to really search for solutions myself. I couldn't go to a shop and buy something, or Amazon obviously was not existing when I
Yes.
was young. And I modified a bicycle to make it kind of like a chopper,
Sure.
and invented a little portable toilet
Okay.
that I sold then later to some trekking company there. And not that I made money of it, but I always had to make things by myself because I didn't have the money. And
Money.
people often think, oh, if I would have all the money, all the things I could do. But it actually takes innovation away because you're not under the pressure of having to find a
Yes,
solution. You
definitely.
just, and nowadays, especially, you just go on the internet and all from Amazon or somewhere. So people that much money work more than having the money. On the other hand, the problem is then how do you survive like that? You can see from our own life. At the end, God is faithful in all of these things. We don't have to be a good, smart businessman, but you have to be a good, God-trusting businessman.
Yes,
And at the
definitely.
end, God will work things out. So not everything will work, but at the end, uh, a clunky road. But when I see the people, for example, for that, how he started off in the garage and then was successful. But when you look deeper into his personal story, how he obtained
Yes,
Microsoft and so on, it was not his own invention. There's a smart bit technology and that ideas. And
yes,
and at the end, we are anyway only responsible before God, not before some shareholders
yes.
with what we do. And
Okay.
I moved here to Kashmir also to be in an environment where things are needed and not to sit somewhere far away in Germany and think about good solutions for things that are needed here in Kashmir or in South Asia.
Yes,
But if you don't live in it, you have no idea.
yes, definitely.
I can pull up a nice recipe on the internet to think, oh, that looks nice, like cooking gustava balls. But if you ask me to follow the recipe and make gustava balls, I don't think any Kashmiri would eat it because it will not turn out the right way,
All right.
because I
Yes,
don't have the experience. And you really have to be in it. If I would work with Raza for some time, then I could
definitely.
learn the skills of what it takes to make real Kashmir food, for example. And you really have to be in the environment, otherwise you don't learn it. The same as you with your channel here. Um, you're just doing it, and for sure things go wrong. Yes, you get better at it, and eventually you're really good at it. But then you also really know your stuff, and you did not just read it up in the book,
Yes,
but you've done it. So I really
definitely.
appreciate also your work
Thank you.
that you are doing in a very different field, but in many ways very similar.
Yes, definitely. And it is really appreciable by the likes of by the work sorry of it is really appreciable the work that you do, as it not only is for personal gains, it helps every other people. You are doing it for the people, and it is really inspiring for me as well. As being a German, a non-native, you are here, helping people, and you are here in these harsh conditions. Although you could have been in Germany and living a really comfortable life, but you are here, just because you want to help people and you want to feel what through what circumstances they go through. It's really a great experience,
Yeah,
I must say. And I had this question in my mind since
yeah, but
I.
it's not what you say. But
Yes, yes, continue, please.
what I just want to say is, yeah, you just said I could have stayed comfortable in Germany and so on and so forth. Uh, uh, but since I've lived and also lived in I know how life there is there, and many things in Germany that there's also lots of issues that people have to deal with. Yeah, and
Yes,
and I have two sons, which are now also in their early 20s.
20s. Yes,
And if I would have just stayed in Germany and think I want to stay in a cushy place here, which it was not really, then what inheritance would I leave for my kids? Not
yes.
I don't talk about money, but the whole
I.
society of the world. Just look at Ukraine currently and Russia and all that trouble. So the bubble that was there, where in Germany thought, oh, now the world becomes a better place because Russia is not the problem anymore, and this and that,
Yes.
and suddenly everything is different. And some of my relatives, they are scared. of what will happen there. And it just shows they're
Definitely.
built on sand. And
Yes.
here I am in Kashmir. And when my youngest son was born, my second oldest brother said, "Oh, you can move to Kashmir now with your son. You will get killed. They're all the militants and terrorists and so on." And I really had peace in my heart. I said, "No, it's okay." And
No.
now I'm living here since then. And he has had a good life here. He himself says he grew up very well here. Your people have been very nice, very
Yes, definitely.
kind,
Uh,
uh,
it's all about,
very
the experience.
supportive, and so Germany.
So I would like to, here stop for a second, because there is a, thing on our channel that a section is here that we see the comments that we have been getting, and we just read them so that our audience feels that it's an interactive session. So firstly, we have Hyperion FF, and he's saying great. Okay, heart emojis. And then we have Shabir Ahmad Shah, who is saying, amazing to see a German settled here in Kashmir with
Ha,
his family. His experience will definitely be fruitful for us as a start, and other businesses, community, and our society. God bless you. Thank you to all our commenters who commented and encouraged us. It is really, appreciated. They are basically praising you and saying that you are a really, great
ha.
contribution towards our society and Kashmir as whole.
Yeah, but I don't want to be praised. I don't deserve any praise. There's only one that deserves praise, and it's the Upawala. Uh, and he has guided me here, and I didn't plan that. I remember when I years back I started paying into a life insurance,
Hmm.
a small life insurance, because I thought I want to get married one day, and I want to show that there's some security for the future wife. And
Definitely.
those people asked me because there was trouble in Kashmir already, and I told them, yeah, maybe one day I want to go to India. And they said, but not pay when you go to Kashmir. I said, no, I would not go to Kashmir. Why would I go to Kashmir? But now I'm here already, and I don't care about the life insurance because the life insurance doesn't save me. And just recently, a guy from the bank here wanted to sell me a
Yes.
local life insurance from the HDFC Bank. It's eternity. Should we, you be much more concerned about it to sell me a life insurance that reaches into eternity, to have peace with God, to have my sins forgiven and so on? And he said, yeah, but. And I said, no, I don't want your life insurance. I don't need your life insurance. Uh, uh, uh,
Yes.
what should be to you also much answered rightfully, because whatever we might obtain here is all wood, hay, and stubble. It burns away within the blink of an eye.
Yes, definitely. That this world is nothing but, a test for us Muslims, as being Muslims, and we have just to pass
Ha,
it, as our final destination is the Akhirah and the Jannah. So that's why we have to focus on that. And there are a lot of people that are in this world, they are really focused on making this dunya, but it is really heartbreaking to see that, they are really getting diverged from the real path, from the real track. So that's another thing, and it is a topic for another day. But firstly, tell me that the shelters that you made here in Kashmir, they were named Pi shelters, and your company as well is named
yes,
Pi Engineering. Tell me, what's the meaning of Pi? How did you came to this, what is it called, name?
yeah. The name, it's not an acronym, it's a word, and it's Punjabi and Gojri for brother, Pai. Tambero Pai. You say Pai, but uh, Punjabi and Gojri, it's
Pi.
Pai, P-A-I. So that's where that comes from.
Okay.
And we want to say with that we're sitting all in the same boat in this world,
Yes.
and that's why it's Pi Engineering, because it's from a brother to a brother. and there's nobody else but brothers in this world.
Yes.
There might be people that think they are bigger than us, but they are not.
Yes, definitely. And also, these will be one of our last questions. Okay, so tell me, what did you like the most about Kashmir in general? Whether it be the food, whether it be the culture, whether it be the language, whether it be the places. What did you like the most about Kashmir?
Most, but it's all of the above. I like the countryside, the mountains, the climate, the people, and that is not an order of things. The nature, the birds, now all the blooms on all the. It was just marvelous to see all the trees blooming there. Then the hospitality of the local here is just it doesn't exist anybody's door and say I have hello, I need some help for this and that,
Yes.
and I'm sure people would help me and they would feed food. Yesterday, I just bought some feed for my cow here, and the shopkeeper right away invited me for lunch,
Oh,
and other people invited me to stay night and said, no, no, sorry, I have to go.
I have to.
I have to do some work. And but it's just amazing the hospitality of the people here,
Yeah.
which is a very, very important gift. And uh, my wife, through you, to become hospitable and not so scared of people from outside.
Yes, definitely. And I think that we are well above past half an hour maybe. So I wanted to ask this as well, that what did you think about the Kashmiri architecture? I am talking about the historical architecture, not the modern current one, the bridges, etc. As being an engineer, you might have visited some
Yeah,
historical places, the Mughal gardens maybe, or we have here. What is it called? The palaces or the Killa Makhdun Sahib. You might have saw that as well. What did you
uh,
think about that?
uh, I was just actually 2 weeks ago, I went with my sons on Sunday for 5 hours into the old city just to take pictures of
Okay.
all the old, not all, but many of the old buildings there. When we started Jamia Masjid and slowly walked our way through to Sheikh Hamdan Mosque and then looked around in that area. And it's very beautiful. Lots of it is very beautiful. I like the big window spaces that many houses have. So lots of light comes into the houses. And the old Dutch Diva buildings are very uh, beautiful to me. Then also the intricate work in the Sheikh Hamdan Mosque, but also on other older buildings, from the door frames to the stone masonry work, was just really amazing to see that, to have the time to take a look at that. And we ended up going to Makhdoom's house and looked around there. And the craftsmanship is really very, very good here. People put their mind and their time to it, not rush it, but really put their mind to it to do it nice. They can do a really good job, and
Yes.
which is very much lacking in newer constructions. There's very often the beauty is actually lost in that.
Yes, definitely. And also, I wanted to ask this question, that as being an innovator and an engineer, what do you think is the most, important or the most difficult thing that you have to keep in mind when innovating something or engineering?
Um, the culture of the people is very important, and so. maintenance on anything that is built is very important, and to
Mhm.
make things in a way that they are maintainable. Because if I would make something very fancy, but there's nobody here able to maintain that,
Maintain. Yes.
then it's not really good.
Good.
And it should be also executable, not just by me, but also by the local people here
Definitely.
with their technical abilities and so on, and also dealing with the supplies. As it's our company's motto, you also to utilize local resources, to not go the cheap and quick way to order something from outside, but to say, how can we do something here? We actually had 2 years ago, it's about not 2 years ago, that we developed a ventilator. There was a challenge from the NIT to develop stuff for the COVID
Yes,
crisis,
definitely.
and we developed a ventilator home, a very simple made ventilator, uh, just with parts from the junkyard.
Junk.
And the thing works. It's not the greatest thing. It's not the final solution for everything, but it just
It
shows
works.
it. In a pinch, you really have to find something. You can
Yes,
find some stuff all
definitely.
together. And we got the third prize actually at the COVID challenge
Cool.
done by the NIT at the time.
Yes, definitely. And you said that definitely it wasn't the most beautiful of the things, and it wasn't the most we can say best of the things, but it showed that if we put our mind into something, if we put our mind into building a very cost-effective ventilator, and an urgent need of it pays off, then we can definitely do that. It proved that, and I think that that's a really great method, and that
Yeah,
was a really great thing. So
yeah. It,
yes, please.
it's really a mindset. It's like when I go to a junkyard, like here, Rashid, he is a junkyard. I only see possibilities with all the stuff that lays around there. I only see possibilities, and I want to buy this thing and that thing and that thing, and I have to hold myself back and say, no, no, just do one thing after the other. It's easy for me to start projects, but it's not so easy to finish them
Finishing it.
nicely. That's where I'm
Yes,
challenged, and that's where a team is very important. Nobody
definitely.
can do stuff by himself. You always need a team around you. Everybody has gifts and limitations, and to live with the limitations and to accept them and to give others that have more gifts in there to speak into that and
Yes,
input.
and yes.
And so, and that's something that
So there is this thing in Kashmir called houseboat. You might have gone there as well. So you might have gone there, or the floating market of Kashmir. You might have seen that place as well. So tell us about your thoughts on it. The houseboats, the shikaras, the floating markets.
uh, no, my first visit here was on a houseboat on Darling, and then that houseboat owner asked us, oh, I think it's now maybe 10 years ago, to renovate his dunga.
Oh,
And so we actually renovated his dunga. We took this, that, put water tank up a new one. And so it was an interesting experience to work with material there. Also, again, with the local laborers that from the outside, but inside the
definitely.
layout is now a bit different as it used to be. And so, and my son actually recently, or my both sons, they do a lot of stuff with Legos. I don't know if you're familiar with Legos. It's a plastic block
Yes, Legos.
stick together and all kinds of
Yes,
things.
definitely.
And he recently actually made a sport made from Lego,
Oh,
made from Lego, and turned out to be really nice.
yes.
So, and so he actually put it on the Lego web page. You can find it there,
Okay.
Kashmiri houseboat, and and that's how it has impacted us. And when I worked on that houseboat, uh, we had a hole for the outflow of a toilet, and that piece of wood that I took out, I actually took home with me, and I still have it as
Okay.
a memory of or from this Dunga, as a memory of this is how the bottom boards of the Dunga,
Def-
of
okay.
the particular Dunga is.
Yeah. So,
And the
keeping
houseboat people really take
yes,
good care of them.
yes. So, keeping all the things that you liked aside,
So,
tell me.
but
Yes, continue, please, please continue.
yeah, now in relation to the houseboats, I'm also thinking how is it possible to sustain the houseboats on the long run? Because DEFDA is just getting very expensive.
Yes.
Uh, so I had some thoughts about it. How is it possible maybe to use for the bottom a fiber shell
Okay.
instead of making the bottom from
Wood.
DEFDA wood, to use fiber or maybe aluminum or
Yes.
some stainless steel sheet. Just steel is difficult because it will always start to rust.
Yes.
But I'm just thinking every time when I see something, I always think, how can something be improved with the material that is available? And also, when I think about the houseboat fires that have happened,
Yes.
how is that more avoidable so it doesn't happen? And because it's not necessary to wire up those houseboats so that there's not a risk of an electric fire on the houseboats.
Yes,
And but it
definitely.
has to be done properly.